Number 20, Wolverhampton Wanderers. Wolves had a big turning point in 2016. A Chinese company called Fosun International bought the club for around $56.7 million. Before that, Wolves had been bouncing between divisions, trying to find stability, but Fosun came with big dreams. They teamed up with super agent Jorge Mendes, who helped bring in talented players from all over Europe. Suddenly, Wolves weren't just surviving, they were exciting, fearless, and playing in the Premier League like they belonged. In just a couple of seasons, they finished 7th twice and even played in the Europa League. Not bad for a team that had been once struggling in the Championship. Who would have thought a Chinese takeover would turn Wolves into one of England's surprise packages? Number 19, West Ham United. West Ham United's ownership story is full of twists. Back in 2010, British businessmen David Gold and David Sullivan took control of the club. They were childhood fans and promised to bring stability after years of financial trouble. Their big move? Shifting West Ham to the London Stadium in 2016, hoping it would boost the club's image and finances. Some fans loved it, others missed the old Upton Park vibes. Then in 2021, Czech billionaire Daniel Kretinsky bought a 27% stake for $240 million. Suddenly things got interesting. With more money and fresh ideas, what happened next will shock you, especially with a takeover that nearly doubled their ambitions. Number 18, Tottenham Hotspur. Tottenham Hotspur's takeover story started in 2001 when British billionaire Joe Lewis and businessman Daniel Levy took control through Enoch Group, paying $31 million for a 27% stake. Levy stepped in as chairman, and he's still calling the shots today. At first, fans weren't sure what was coming, but under their leadership, Spurs began to grow strategically. They built one of the finest stadiums in the world and doubled down on developing young talent. While major trophies remain elusive, Spurs have stayed in the mix, even reaching the Champions League final in 2019. What started as a controversial decision turned into one of the club's greatest moments. Isn't it wild how a new home can feel like a problem, then become a turning point? Number 17, Southampton. Southampton's takeover story is one of quiet ambition. In 2022, a Serbian businessman named Dragan Solak, through his company Sport Republic, at $135 million, bought a controlling stake in the club. Before that, Southampton had been owned by Chinese businessman Gao Jisheng, who kept a low profile and didn't invest much. Fans were hopeful Solak would bring fresh energy, and he did. Sport Republic said they wanted to build a smart, data-driven football club. The owners prioritized youth development and long-term goals over big signings. Could this patient, thoughtful takeover be the start of something special at St. Mary's? Let's watch and see. Number 16, Nottingham Forest. The Tricky Trees takeover story feels like a fresh start for a historic club. In 2017, Greek businessman Evangelos Marinakis bought the club, ending years of uncertainty. The exact purchase price hasn't been publicly disclosed. Reports suggest that deal was valued at approximately $75 million at current exchange rates. Forest, once European champions, had been stuck in the championship for a very long time. Fans were hopeful but cautious. Marinakis promised to bring back the glory days, and he started by improving the stadium, training facilities, and signing new talent. It wasn't an overnight success, but his persistence paid off. In 2022, Forest finally returned to the Premier League after 23 years. But what if the real success is yet to come? The next club's takeover might just blow your mind. Number 15, Newcastle United. Newcastle United's takeover in 2021 was one of the most talked about in football. A Saudi Arabian-backed group, led by the Public Investment Fund, bought the club for around $397.4 million. Fans were thrilled. It ended years of frustration under former owner Mike Ashley, who was seen as too cautious. Suddenly, Newcastle had the richest owners in football. People wondered, would they spend big? Would stars start arriving? The new owners promised steady growth, not just flashy signings. They hired smart people, improved the squad, and by 2023, Newcastle qualified for the Champions League. That's a huge turnaround, but the exciting part is that this might only be the beginning. Number 14, Manchester United. In 2005, the Glazer family bought Manchester United, but instead of paying with cash, they took out loans, leaving the club in debt. Fans were furious and protests started right away. Despite winning trophies under Sir Alex Ferguson, the debt loomed large. Then in 2023, British billionaire Sir Jim Ratcliffe stepped in, buying a 25% stake in the club and vowing to fix things. Fans are hopeful, but can Ratcliffe really bring Manchester United back to its former glory? Number 13, Manchester City. In 2008, Manchester City was a decent team, but they still couldn't break into the Premier League's top ranks. That all changed when Sheikh Mansour and his wealthy UAE group bought the club for just over $260 million. At first, it seemed like another rich owner, but this takeover was anything but ordinary. With nearly endless cash, City brought in top stars like Yaya Toure and Sergio Aguero, and their performance soared. By 2023, they had won multiple Premier League titles and finally, the coveted Champions League trophy. A small purchase turned into a global dominance, but is this the peak or just the beginning? Stick around because the real twist is coming. Number 12, Liverpool. In 2010, Liverpool was going through a difficult time financially due to the struggles under former American owners Tom Hicks and George Gillett. Things began to change when John Henry's Fenway Sports Group bought the club for about $372 million. Instead of focusing only on profit, the new owners looked to the club's future and made smart moves. They invested in the team, upgraded Anfield, and most importantly, brought in Jurgen Klopp as manager in 2015. These changes paid off. Liverpool went on to win the Champions League in 2019 and the Premier League in 2020. FSG's patient and thoughtful leadership brought Liverpool back to the top, exciting fans everywhere. Number 11, Leicester City. The Foxes have an inspiring takeover story. In 2010, Thai businessman Vichai Srivaddhanaprabha purchased the club for $58.5 million. At the time, Leicester was in the Championship, far from the Premier League spot. However, Vichai had big dreams and invested heavily in the team, upgraded the facilities and made the club more professional. His efforts paid off in 2016 when Leicester stunned the football world by winning the Premier League title, one of the greatest sports achievements. Though Vichai tragically died in a helicopter crash in 2018, his son, Ayawat, continues to honor his father's legacy and fans remain hopeful for the club's future. Number 10, Ipswich Town. Ipswich Town's takeover in 2021 brought a wave of excitement. The club, once a top team in English football, had been struggling for years, stuck in the lower divisions. But then, American businessman Brett Johnson and his partners, through a group called the US-based Game Changer 20, bought the club. The new owners were passionate about restoring Ipswich to its former glory. They bought the team for around $325.5 million. They promised investment in the team, the stadium, and the overall club structure. Fans were hopeful, hoping this fresh ownership would bring stability and success. With a rich history and passionate supporters, Ipswich Town's potential is huge. Could this takeover be the start of a new chapter for the club? Number 9, Fulham. In July 2013, Pakistani-American billionaire Shahid Khan purchased Fulham FC from Mohammed Al Fayed for approximately $300 million. Khan, who also owns the NFL's Jacksonville Jaguars, acquired the club debt-free, marking a new era for the West London team. Al Fayed had invested significantly in Fulham, elevating the club from the third tier to the Premier League during his 16-year ownership. Khan's acquisition was part of a broader trend of American investors entering English football, with Fulham becoming the 6th Premier League club under US ownership at the time. Since the takeover, Khan has focused on stabilizing the club's finances and maintaining its Premier League status. Number 8, Everton. In December 2024, Toffee's takeover created a wave of excitement. The Friedkin Group, led by Texas billionaire Dan Friedkin, acquired the club for approximately $506 million, taking control of 98.8% of shares from Farhad Moshiri. Despite Moshiri's $800 million investment over 8 years, he failed to push Everton into the Premier League's top half, which led to growing frustration among fans. Now with the Friedkin Group, who also own AS Roma, there is renewed hope. Their plans include ensuring financial stability, completing the impressive Bramley Moore Dock Stadium, and rebuilding the team. Fans are eager to see if the new ownership can lead Everton back to its glory days. Number 7, Crystal Palace. In 2015, a new chapter began for Crystal Palace when Josh Harris and David Blitzer acquired 18% each for $150 million, joining chairman Steve Parish in a shared leadership structure. Fast forward to 2021, an American tech entrepreneur, John Textor, became involved, purchasing a 40% stake for around $124 million. Textor's vision was to integrate the team into his multi-club ownership model, which includes Olympique Lyonnais and Botafogo. However, strategic differences led to challenges in aligning with the current ownership. By By 2024, Textor decided to sell his shares with interest from several investors, including a consortium led by Keith Harris, who reportedly offered $290 million. Number 6. Chelsea. In May 2022, Chelsea FC went through one of the biggest and most talked about takeovers in football. Roman Abramovich decided to sell the club because of political issues, and the American businessman Todd Boehly led a group called Clear Lake Capital to buy Chelsea for an eye-popping $5.2 billion. That's one of the highest amounts ever spent on a sports team. Fans wondered if the new owners would spend as much money and aim for the same level of success as Abramovich, and guess what? Boehly didn't waste time. He spent big on new players and changed how the club was run. Can Chelsea get back to the top with his bold new leadership? Number 5. Brighton and Hove Albion. In 2009, Tony Bloom, a lifelong Brighton fan, took over the club and quickly started making big changes. He invested over $100 million to build the Amex Stadium and cover the club's losses. This was just the start. Bloom's smart ideas and data-driven approach helped Brighton grow from a lower league team to a regular Premier League contender. By 2024, the club was worth over $730 million. Fans are now wondering, could Bloom's vision take Brighton to even bigger places like European competitions? With his clever leadership, the future looks bright for the Seagulls, but only time will tell if they can make the leap. You won't believe what happens next. Number 4. Brentford. Brentford's story is one of the best underdog tales in football, and it all began with a brilliant takeover in 2012. Matthew Benham, a lifelong fan and professional gambler, bought the club and turned it around. Back in 2009, Benham had started by investing $1.25 million every year for 5 years, slowly increasing his ownership stake. By 2012, he owned the whole club. What made Benham's approach stand out was his use of data and analytics, just like the Moneyball strategy in baseball. With this fresh approach, Brentford went from being a League One team all the way to the Premier League. Fans were shocked by the rise, and now they're wondering, can the Bees keep buzzing in the top flight? Number 3. Bournemouth. In December 2022, American billionaire Bill Foley led a group of investors to purchase AFC Bournemouth for around $148 million. The Premier League approved the deal, signaling a major commitment to the future of the club. Foley, also the owner of the NHL's Vegas Golden Knights, vowed to improve the club's facilities and performance. His plans include expanding the Vitality Stadium and building a new training complex. Actor Michael B. Jordan became a minority owner, adding a touch of Hollywood to the project. Foley's goal is to create a multi-club model to elevate Bournemouth's status, leaving fans hopeful for future success. Number 2. Aston Villa. In July 2018, Aston Villa was on the brink of financial collapse when Egyptian billionaire Nassef Sawiris and American investor Wes Edens stepped in. Their group, NSWE, acquired a 55% stake for about $39 million. They later assumed full control, injecting substantial funds to stabilize the club. This investment included purchasing Villa Park for $71.44 million to comply with financial regulations. Under their leadership, Aston Villa returned to the Premier League and, by 2025, achieved Champions League qualification. Their strategic vision and financial commitment have transformed Villa into a competitive force in English football. Number 1. Arsenal. In August 2018, American billionaire Stan Kroenke made headlines by acquiring full ownership of Arsenal FC in a deal valued at approximately $2.3 billion. This move ended a long-standing rivalry with Russian oligarch Alisher Usmanov, who had owned a 30% stake in the club. Kroenke's company, Kroenke Sports and Entertainment, offered around $777 million to buy out Usmanov's shares, valuing Arsenal at $2.3 billion. What's your opinion on the biggest Premier League takeover in recent years? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like and share if you enjoyed this breakdown. And if you want to relive England's tournament heartbreaks, check out our previous video. Subscribe for more.